Beth, I'm going to turn down just a little bit on the guitar. I think it's a little bit too much, and then I'm going to say hello to everybody, but wait a second. Okay, so turn this one down a little bit. Turn this one down a bit more. Yeah, it's still kind of loud, but there's an electric guitar. Okay, everybody, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. Back in the olden days, they used to call me on the phone. Back when we had a call-in show, you know, and they'd ask me questions like, "Hey, man, what's your show about?" And I'd say, it's about an hour. About guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So, can't call in anymore. We don't do a call-in show anymore like we did in the olden days, but...
we would be happy to, but nobody talks on the phone anymore.
Yeah, you know, and so...
young people all type on them.
People are afraid to talk on the phone, but... Anyway, it's basically a show about guitars, guitar playing, all things guitaristic, and we can answer questions if you Twitter us or tweet us or whatever, or we can just make stuff up. But basically, it's about the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, how to play the guitar, you know, related topics like the guitarrón, the guitarra, sitars, chitoles, lutes, ouds, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bazookas, bajos, sextos, bandurias, and bandolas, and bandolims, you know, mandolins, ocarinas, and accordions, and pipe organs, and piccolos, and harmoniums, and harpsichords, and harmonicas, and, you know, crumb horns, and chordholts, and cornetos, I don't know, clarinets, and clavinets, clavichords, clavicles? No, that's anatomy.
It's a bone, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like it's here, up here, isn't it? That one? I don't know. I don't know. I went to music school.
Mr. Skopinski probably knows.
He would know. He'll be here inevitably. Anyway, politics, world events, you know, people's personality problems. We're here for you, but you know, we keep it clean because this is a family program. Anyway, so we're having all kinds of excitement. I got here kind of late because I've been busy all day, and I had a plan for the show. So over here on the floor, I got this great big duffel bag just teeming with pedals, and I thought what I'd do is fool around with pedals on the show. Particularly electro-harmonics. At the moment, I have almost exclusively electro-harmonics, except that I have a mod tone tuning pedal that I will use as a, let's see if I'm in tune, that I would use as a, well, a little flat, tuner, but it also works as a mute button, because I think the theory is that people don't think that they don't want to hear you tuning, you know, when you're playing a gig. So what happened to me, if you don't mind my reminiscing a little bit, is that I was looking for a mute button so I could switch guitars or switch pedals out and stuff without turning off the amp. And the mute button I was looking at was more expensive than this tuner. So I bought the tuner. This is a couple of years ago. And then I was using that to switch guitars at a gig where it was a really noisy room. And it was like really hard to hear myself tune, so I tuned with it. And then I started tuning it. Now I just lost my tuning fork. Maybe it'll turn up in the wash or something. Maybe I probably washed it in a pair of jeans or something like that. Can't find it. So rather than having a tuning fork, I have been using these tuners, and I'm becoming addicted to them. I'm becoming soft. Anyway, okay. So at the moment I have an Electro Harmonix 360 looper. I also have a Ditto, which is a TC Electronics out of Denmark. But let's say Electro Harmonix, EHX to you, is a company out of New York City. And so they're actually, stuff is made in America. So I have the Electro Harmonix 360 Nano Looper and an older Holy Grail Plus, which is the reverb that I'm using. So I plugged this in immediately because I knew it, because I ran out of time, okay? So that's a, this is hall reverb, and it's not turned up very high. It's actually kind of a, I'm gonna play something with this one before I start fooling around. See if the 360 works. This is the hall, and it's not turned up very much. It's just, kind of a little bit of reverb, okay? So what I did there, of course, was in the middle of my playing, I switched over to the spring reverb. It's supposed to sound like a spring reverb, like a spring tank you'd have in an old Fender amp. If I switch it down to here, this is a Reverend bayonet guitar, so it also has the bass roll-off. So I just rolled off my bass, and I switched to the bridge pickup, and I get this. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, that was good, clean, and fun. But anyway, that's not what I'm here for today. Oh, it is, but I'm...
We're here today to ask Mr. Skopinski what a clavicle is.
A clavicle?
Yes.
Is that a collarbone?
Well, are we talking music or?
No, we're talking...
But well, I say clavichords and clavichords and clavinovas and what are they, clavinets. But I said clavicle, and I think a clavicle is like a collarbone or something, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay. All right.
See, he did that in his opening riff, and we were pretty sure it wasn't an instrument.
Yeah.
And we figured if it was a body part, you would know.
Well, you must have taken some anatomy there in nursing school.
That was one of my best classes, or one of my favorite classes.
Yeah. We should have Marcus, the mandolinist, back on the show. You know, his day job is forensic pathology.
Like CSI?
Yeah, basically, yeah, he does that sort of stuff. But he had a broken finger on his right hand, the fourth finger in his right hand. So it's like off in the so-and-so bone. You can name it off, of course, but the bone it's a little bit off, you know. But it doesn't matter because he's mandolinist. He plays with a pick, so that's really far from the action. You know, it's here that you know. I mean, well, actually, I'm a mandolinist also, but anyway, but okay. But if I don't even want to talk about it. Breaking the finger. Anyway, okay, no, okay. So, but anyway, that was fun. This is the Holy Grail Plus. The Holy Grail is pretty old. I've had a couple of them. This is my. I have the Holiest Grail, which is great. I might do a show about that. It's really cool. But anyway, having muted, I muted the my pedals here with the aid of my mod tone tuner, and I'm about to do this. I should have done this over. Oh, okay. And plug this in and set aside the. There we go. All right. Now, I've never tried this. One of the things I was going to do for this show, and I was really busy today, and I had to do other things. Actually, this is the first time I had a guitar in I've actually played guitar today. But, wow. Well, you know, I have a problem of, it's called GAS, Guitar Acquisition Syndrome. And I share my personal things, but Bob, I paid off West Music last week, and I think I've pretty much paid off Musicians Pro Shop.
Oh.
I got rid of some pedals I'm not going to use anymore. And then I gave him some money. And I may be done with it forever, but there's this other, D'Angelico guitars. He's trying to maybe become a D'Angelico dealer, which might start me on a whole new path of destruction. Because I have 11 Reverend guitars now, you know, and actually a third of all the guitars I've sold over there have been to me. And I think Reverend should send me a T-shirt at least, if not a couple more guitars. But anyway, so I had all this stuff. So I brought this Oceans 11 reverb, this Electro Harmonix new reverb. Now, the Holy Grail has been around for decades. And this is just like an upgrade of some years ago. Maybe it's, I mean, I bought it used. It might be like 8 or 10 years old. I don't know. But this one is a new one. And I brought along some glasses because I don't know what I'm doing with it. And so I'm going to use these here reading glasses to try to read the fine print. And I maybe should have done this later, but I'm just going to play stuff.
Earlier.
Or yeah, sorry, earlier is what I meant. Oh, man. See, I was worrying about my next thing, speaking distinctly. Okay, so that was spring level. Let's see if I push the mode button, what that will do. That's really something. How about the reverse? Weird, man. Echo. I'm just going to put everything up at the noon here and then try the echo. And if I push this button and then do call. Wow. Well, let's jam on that for a while. Take the glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Good, clean fun to play with this thing. I don't know what it all does to me. Where's those glasses I had a minute ago? Here we go. I haven't, committed to this thing yet, but I like echo, tremolo. Now, I don't exactly know how to do a. I think you can do two at once, and it's a secondary thing. I don't know exactly how that works, but yeah, it's tremolo. Let me think. I'm looking for shimmer. That's what I wanted. So Shimmer is like a pitch shifter built into it or something like that. That they these more modern electronics, you know, it's easy to like add stuff to a pedal. It used to be like, you know, soldering transistors together and stuff, and capacitors and all kinds of doodads. But anyway, oh, my guitar is orange in that camera. I mean, we've been fooling around with the lighting and everything.
And how the light hits it, isn't it?
Yeah, this guitar is actually, this is called rock orange, and but in the other camera looks like
When
yellow.
the light hits it direct, it's yellow.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, or like from on the side like that, it's yellow. Anyway, which is kind of cool having my guitar change colors. But what I'm nattering on about is, yeah, so the shimmer, though, is when you add like higher overtones. Actually, hang on a sec. I bent a few too many notes. I'm using my tuner, I think. Okay. Okay, so
Like a close-up of your
my feet,
pedals.
if you can. Now, the romantic in me says, what I should just do is start one loop with one sound and then work my way up to the next. And then like start the loop with the one for the rhythm part, like with something more normal, and then use this for the Well, that was nice and spacey. What do you think, huh? Yeah, okay.
Like something out of a video game.
Yeah, well, I get another job doing that. I have another pedal here that's kind of interesting. It's the Canyon Echo. I don't know whether I should plug it in with it. This is a delay pedal. So delay and reverb share some properties. I mean, like an echo. You know, if you go into a Echo Canyon and go hello, and it goes hello, you know, it bounces off the other wall. Well, this is that sort of thing. It repeats it. A reverb is like if you go into a cave and you say hello, and it sort of like reverberates. And so they're similar. This is also electroharmonics. It's a canyon looper. Okay? Canyon looper, huh? And I don't know whether I'm going to plug this in with that one or plug it in by itself. I really don't know what I'm going to do next time. It's kind of adventure. I had plans for this show, and oh yeah, look at that. Here's my ditto. You know, here's a patch cord. Why don't I just plug this in to that, huh? And then get me a power supply. Oh yeah, here's one. Here's another one. This one actually is plugged into the cathedral. I was going to sell a bunch of pedals to the guy, you know, at the pro shop. And here it goes. You can see. It's hard to see. But anyway, this is a cathedral reverb also. It's a big one. I'll use it later, but I hope so anyway. But I'm going to use its power supply and plug that in to this canyon. In the cavern, in the canyon, excavating for... Anyway, hang on. You know, I teach lessons, guitar lessons to people and stuff. And one of the things is that I'm... just move everything around a little bit here. And well, you know, so I teach, like, children. And see, the thing is, I'm not a... probably doesn't surprise you that I'm not a totally normal guitar teacher, although it probably doesn't exist as a creature. But my thing is, of course, that I took many years of classical guitar training, and some of it rather advanced in faraway places. And I kind of know my way. You know, if you want to play Bach fugues and things, you know, I could help you out. But so for little kids, you know, they think, oh man, this guy, you know. So I'm kind of goofy. I mean, I'm anyway, but I use it to my advantage because I really don't, you know, mean any harm to anybody. So.
But if you want to learn to play Achy Breaky Heart,
I can help you learn how to play Achy Breaky Heart if you want. See, but so one thing I would do is, like, I was just thinking like a canyon. So I was thinking, in a canyon, in a cavern, excavating for a mine. It's my, you know, Clementine. So the daughter of this 49er miner, you know, Gold Rush, is Clementine. And the thing is, just one cruel joke about how she drowned. You know, because she had big feet. She was lovely, and she was, you know, light and everything like that. But
hit
she
her
had
foot
big
against
feet.
a splinter and fell into the foaming brine.
She stubbed her big toe against a splinter, fell into the foaming brine. So she tripped because she had big feet, though her shoes were number 9. And so she, ruby lips beneath the water. So I have a little kid there, like an 8-year-old boy there. He's like trying to figure out what to do next, you know. And so we talked about Clementine because it's, you know, it's one of those songs you learn when you're first starting out. And it's a terrible song. You know, we go into that, you know, and of course Aunt Rhody, you know, about the old gray goose is dead. She only had one feather and stuff like that. And, you know, these are just cruel 19th century jokes. So it sort of helps. And then they don't take me very seriously anymore, and so that way they're not scared of me. So what if I do this Canyon Echo along with the Ocean's 11? Mess. All right. Hang on. I know I had one here that I could use. Okay, now I'm going to turn the effects level down. I turn off the reverb, I get. Turn that up a little bit. And see, it's almost like reverb. So if I put that with this, I get. Listen, I've come this far, and I'm already halfway through this show. So let's see if we can't do something else.
I was thinking the cruel joke is at the end of Clementine.
Yeah.
How I missed my Clementine till I
Yeah.
kissed her little sister and forgot my Clementine.
I forgot about her. Yeah. I mentioned that too. Young fella, 8-year-old, just turned 8. Pretty rank stuff for a young fellow like that. But I guess it's. Perhaps he already knows about life's cruelties. If he's going into 3rd grade, he'd know, I suppose. I mean, how cruel life can be. Anyway.
Well, yeah, the original Grimm's fairy tales were all pretty grim.
I know. You know, and I got to tell you, when my son was a little boy, a little tiny kid, even before he could talk, I sat there every night next to his crib even, and in his little kid bed and everything like that, and I read him from these Grimm's fairy tales because somebody gave us a, this must be the power supplier. This is an old Big Muff here. This is nasty, man. Look at that thing, huh? Big Muff. Oh, anyway. So I used to read him Grimm's fairy tales when he was a little kid, and I guess he turned out okay. But you know, the one thing about it was it was this English translation with very flowery language. You know, very you know, hoity-toity English. It was a translation, of course, from the original German. And an old translation, but somebody gave us a gift certificate to the Prairie Lights bookstore, and so I bought the Grimm's fairy tales, among other things. You know, there's the little kid books with bunny rabbits in them, and you can learn your colors, and then there's stuff like that, you know. But we got into the real stuff, you know. And he turned out okay. One thing is, like, say, don't use the big words around a kid because he's not going to understand it. He's just going to get frustrated. But I did anyway. And he did really well with his vocabulary test, you know, when he was in the Iowa Test of Basic Skills. I'm going to plug this in, don't I? Where is it? There it is. I don't think it's child abuse. He doesn't seem to resent me anyway. Okay, oh, it's on. Okay, so what would happen if I, what was I doing? Oh yeah, like, yeah, twist this over to here, this over to here, that over there, and make a loop. decided to turn on that big muff at the same time as I had the Ocean's 11 reverb on with all this stuff going on. So I get this like thing. The overtones are clean, but the guitar itself is the big muff is a fuzz, so it fuzzes up the sound. Kid stuff. Okay.
We have not mentioned what you're doing this weekend.
Oh, well, unless something terrible happens, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'll be at the Tuscan Moon, the beautiful downtown Kelowna. I won't bring my big muff. If it's hot, I'll be indoors, probably playing Spanish guitar, actually.
Won't be cranking Iron Man, huh?
No, nothing like that.
You want to bring Kelowna into the 21st century?
Bring it to the 20th century, be a start. Got horses and buggies and stuff. There's a guy who drives through town in the Model T. His daughter was a waitress at one time, but I'm supposed to say server. I don't think. I see what this.
Yeah, for 21st century, you're supposed to say server.
Yeah, okay. Well, so I'm in the 20th century anyway. But
Waiters and waitresses are sexist.
I remember they
Why?
were using weights, saying weights when I was
Wait staff.
wait staff, yeah. Well, calling somebody a server seems servile to me, but that's just in my opinion. I don't see anything wrong with
Waiter.
genderizing. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I don't treat a waitress any worse than I do it. Actually, I treat servers pretty well. I'm not mean to them, and I tip them well because I understand they're polite. I've waited a few tables in my life a long time ago, and also I have a thing of the tip fairy. I think I've learned to believe in the tip fairies. That if I'm generous, whenever I go out to dinner someplace or whatever, and I leave a tip, a decent one, a good one, you know, percentage-wise, then maybe like people are kind to me because I have a tip jar myself when I play guitar, you know.
Yeah.
And basically, the way it goes, you know, for a lot of people is that, you know, I have to give the money to my wife, you know, to run the household things, and she has her own issues, you know, need paying for. So I give her the money, but then the tips, I give those to the guitar shop, you know. It's deductible, I guess. But anyway, so
Division of wealth.
What?
Division of wealth.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I have guitar acquisition syndrome, and I really don't have anything else. I mean, I eat, you know. I mean, I buy my own food. My wife and I don't eat the same food, or anything. And I take care of. This is on backwards. Situations and like that, you know, because I'm.
Of course, given your profession, guitars are probably a deductible business expense.
They are. I mean, I have extremely complicated taxes, but because I mean, I had to hire an accountant at hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to try to make sense of it all. Because I don't fear law enforcement. I was at the Civic Center today. We had a meeting with the city, and I was standing around. It was actually early, so I was standing around waiting for people to show up. So I'm standing around there chatting with the woman behind the front desk there, and then the police were coming and going. And I mean, considering I'm a guitar player, I'm not afraid of the police. You know, I mean, basically, I leave them alone. They leave me alone. I just, you know, I don't. You know, I'm an old fellow with a pretty German-Irish looking skin, if that makes a difference.
Don't ingest any illegal substances.
You know, one of the things I was going to do in the show this week, I think by my new thing, is I start yawning. I'm going to yawn now, but I haven't yawned yet. So let me switch around my stuff while I'm babbling on about incoherent, unimportant things. But I was thinking about introducing coffee drinking to Tom's Guitar Show. That I have a little table. You know, I have this chair here so I can be closer to my pedals. But I just sit here with a cup of coffee, you know, and a little thermos, and I drink coffee during the show. Because in the last couple of years, especially the last year at my gigs, I've taken it during drinking coffee because I tend to nod off at about 6 o'clock these days. And we've already determined I ain't getting any, and I ain't getting no younger. And none of us are. Although I think it was one of the legends of Merlin the Magician that he actually was born old and he was getting younger every year because he was a contrarian or something. But I don't believe any of that stuff anyway. It probably wasn't a Guinevere or an Arthur or anything like that. Sir Lancelot. Anyway, what am I doing? Okay, the canyon was fun, and I've only scratched the surface with some of these things here. But I'll put this away over here, too. I want to plug in the cathedral for sure. And I'll plug it into this one because I'm going to fool with it a little bit. And then, oh yeah, and then I've got the pitchfork. Yeah, so I mean, okay, so I'm just talking about my whole drug thing is coffee, pretty much. I'll just do this for now. I'm a caffeine freak at the moment, anyway. There's one guy, somebody told me about, you know, this guy who had cerebral palsy, and he was, no, I think it was MS, actually, come to think of it, which is very different, of course, because it's cerebral palsy, you're born with it, and MS, you know, sneaks up on you. So here we go. And so he said, between he and his doctor, he said that coffee was not negotiable as far as his, you know, lifestyle changes he had to make. So, well, here's the Cathedral Reverb. Now I've had this one for a few years, and it's you know, it does a lot of the same stuff as the combination of the other two that I had. But it's, yeah, it's all in one. And when I was going through my various pedals I wanted to play with and get rid of a few, that one was on the chopping block. But I started messing with it again through this amp. This is a Vox AC10. Which is like the famous AC15, except it's smaller. It's a 10 watts instead of 15 watts, and it's a stripped-down version, not so many doodads, which I prefer a simple tube amp with very few controls. It has a pretty good reverb on it, actually, but it's electronic reverb. It's an English company, but I think that's made in Vietnam, so you know it's good. So anyway, yeah, so I tried the Cathedral Reverb through the Vox AC10. This is plate reverb.
your amp from an English company made me think of the old gearhead joke. The English don't make computers because they couldn't figure out how to make them leak oil.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Yep. Well, I knew a guy who was an English mechanic on English cars, and he, went to the factories and stuff in England and everything. He would keep people's Triumph. Triumph Spitfire was a car. I remember that was really sporty looking, but it was hard to keep them running. And I guess that many people had English sports cars and stuff to run, but he was fully employed. So okay, so that's the cathedral. I really like. This is the Accu Spring. See, if you push the tap infinite, go like. Goes on forever. And stuff. There's also something they really like for some reason. It's the flurb. It's a reverb with a phase shifter. Makes me seasick. I don't know. Okay. But before I get done here with all this stuff, let me do a couple other things really, really quick. Let's see. I've got the. Well, I didn't even get a chance to do the organ pedals. What's in here? This is the. Okay, the pitchfork. I got another one. Here we go. This will work. Plug this one in here, and then get me one of them patch cables I had lying around the floor here a minute ago. And here we go. There's one. And I'm going to plug this in here.
Or the English car and motorcycle companies used to buy most of their electrics from a company called Lucas, who we called the Prince of Darkness.
Oh. I suppose you never had an English car, did you?
No.
No.
My brother had an Austin Healey Sprite for a while.
Oh, yeah, I remember those. Cute little car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a tiny little engine in them.
Yeah. You gotta go around and pull the rope out of that cord on it. Anyway. We'll turn this off here for a second. Okay. Okay, and this is. What have I done here? Let me see. Hang on. Why don't I remember how to make this thing work all the time? Dual, blend. Oh, there's a button here. Hang on. Okay. This thing does is it what it does is it's a pitch shifter. It'll shift your guitar up or down or both. You can do a dual thing where you So I can do the higher. If I do that with the, like this. Or I can just go. Of course, if I do this. Now, my ambition, of course, is, well, not of course, but my ambition is to simply have a, hang on, well, the show is almost over. To put a whole pedal board, so I have all this stuff, but rather than using a regular guitar amp, I use a powered speaker, the kind of used for a PA system, and that way it would have a very low bass and a very high and have a whole range, and then I could do all the different things. What I didn't even get into, by the way, are the organ pedals that emulate the sound of an organ, electric organ and pipe organ and stuff like that. Inevitably, I'm going to do a show on that, but anyway, so. You know, I like playing bass, but I just don't, it's too freaky playing bass on guitar. It's weird. Here we go, and. What if I do this as a sign off and say that Tom's Guitar Show theme? Tuscan Moon in Kelowna this weekend.